Hello, everyone. So, I'm going to talk about phenomenological studies throughout this presentation. So, what is a phenomenological study? It is all about understanding people's lived experience. It really digs deep into how individuals make sense of specific phenomenons or just capturing their emotions and their perception, just their interpretation of things from a personal experience. Instead of focusing on numbers or broader generalization, this type of research can help prioritize the meaning behind people's personal experiences. When should a phenomenological study be used? This approach works best when you want to explore how people experience something on a personal level. If the goal is to uncover emotions, perspectives, and meanings rather than just measuring patterns or trends, this is definitely the type of study that you want to use. It's especially useful when little is known about how a certain group experiences something or when they want to highlight the voices that weren't necessarily heard or often heard. What methodology is used in a phenomenological study? In this study, research typically involves in depth interviews, observations, or personal narratives. The idea to get rich or detailed descriptions from participants so that you can identify common themes across their personal experiences. In the data collection is usually open ended so that you allow the participants to fully express their thoughts and then analyze, focusing on identifying patterns in their meanings rather than just categorizing their responses. What coding is used in a phenomenological study? Since the goal, of course, is to uncover those shared experiences, the thematic coding is what's often used, meaning that they're going through the data to find reoccurring themes, patterns, or any key concepts that actually capture the participants' lived experiences. Often you'll see that researchers use some type of technique that's an open coding to really break down those responses into key ideas and then refine those into a broader theme that really explains how people make sense of their phenomenon. So you have disadvantages and advantages, of course, of using a phenomenological study. On the left-hand side, you will see kind of some bullet points of the advantages, and on the right-hand side, you'll see some of the disadvantages. With the advantages, the biggest advantage is to really provide a deep, rich understanding of just that overall personal human experience. It allows for the researcher to really explore emotions, beliefs, and those perspectives in a way that oftentimes, the quantitative research cannot. When you do the phenomenological study, it also helps to give a voice to those underrepresented groups by capturing their unique perspective in their own words. So, really kind of looking at how they often use things. So, maybe their interviews are a little bit more related to quotes so that you're really capturing the words specifically of what that person said. When it comes to the disadvantages of using the study, it's a type of research that just takes time because, of course, there are some biases that can come into place, but it's also collecting detailed narratives and then, of course, analyzing those narratives. So, based on people's experiences, that can kind of get a little tricky. And the data is also just subjective in general. So, findings might not be easily generalized to a larger population because the researcher has to really play a big part and a big role in interpreting that data, which again always takes a risk when it comes to biases because they can also influence those results that you may find. What populations or individual groups, situations that could be used in a phenomenological study? It works well with individuals who have a shared particular experience, maybe like mothers of students with disabilities working with school principals, even students who are adjusting to a new math teaching strategies. If you want to get really granular, immigrant families adapting to new educational and cultural systems, anything that allows you to get a perspective of a central understanding of an issue is the best way in population to go with when doing a phenomenological study. So lastly, I'm going to describe different types of phenomenological studies that I could actually write about. So in the algebra space, as a math focus, algebra 2 teachers experienced with their cultural responsive teaching. That could be specifically to secondary education. Also looking at the impact of professional development on teachers' perceptions and their practices. And lastly, one new thing that I've been getting interested in is micro school teachers and their experiences teaching math in what's considered a non-traditional way, such as like not teaching your traditional scope and sequence of maybe algebra 1 to geometry to algebra 2 for my state here in Missouri. But thank you all for listening to my presentation.